Welcome to another edition of the Dental Today podcast. Thank you for stopping by. This is brought to you by labmediatv. My name is Hezekiah Morales, and here we go. Remember to follow us on social media at labmediatv. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very excited to bring to you another member of the team here. I'm going to allow Mr. Dane Barlow to do all the formal introductions, but I can tell you, you want to hear what this man has to say. This is going to be a phenomenal interview. Not only that, we're going to have Jeremy also present some techniques, give some advice. If you have any questions, we're following the exact same format. You can send us a message via Instagram, Facebook, or also through the YouTube live chat. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dane Barlow and Mr. Jeremy, last name Jeremy? Harward.
Yep. So this is going to be story time while we're tomando la mate. I gotta thank as soon as the camera's not blocked. I gotta thank Javier from Uruguay and JC Latin America for this matero. He knows I lived in Uruguay and I've been drinking mate out of it. Really appreciate it. It's a very sincere gift. So I appreciate that, and I want to thank GC America. I want to thank White Peaks and Harvest Dental, and for their professionalism, the great products that they create, the Dental Technicians Guild and Von Grow. I appreciate you guys in my life and the things that you've helped teach me over time, and I'm glad to be able to help participate. So I wanted to bring in Jeremy because I often refer to Jeremy as the most incognito lit technician in the United States because Jeremy does phenomenal work. But beyond that, there are very few people who will try to work me under the table. When I'm doing a 36-hour shift, this guy's at my side. And the only difference between us is that Jeremy will walk in and say, "Hey Dane, you're gonna eat now." Right? So Jeremy likes to eat thanks to his wife. But sometimes I get working and I like completely forget to eat. And so when I'm working with Jeremy in late hours, he'll just walk up and I'll be like, no, I'm not hungry. I just need to keep going. And he'll be like, I'm not walking away till you put this sandwich in your mouth. And he'll make me eat and try to keep me healthy. Is one of the, he'll give me vitamins and just make sure that my health is up to the right standard. So I wanted to talk a little bit, or have Jeremy explain how we met and a little bit about our history, because there's a reason, I think, why people become or pursue excellence on a really high level, and Jeremy's one of those guys. And so I just wanted to introduce him because nobody knows who Jeremy is really. But I love him like a brother, and we've had many years together. So, Jeremy, why don't you tell a little bit about our story?
Well, thank you for all the kind words. I appreciate that. I do enjoy eating, and my wife is Italian and makes many delicious foods. Like Dane said, we've known each other for a long time. We actually played ball together back in the day, and in our early 20s played some football together and with each other and against each other, and laid some pretty righteous hits on one another.
Oh, we've tried to hurt each other.
It was yeah.
Before we were friends,
we were frenemies. Yeah, is that what it's called? But and then roundabout way, we both ended up at the dental industry and actually going through the same lab to do it. So it was a pretty awesome experience. And then, there hasn't been many people in my life, especially in the dental lab industry, that work as hard as Dane does and as I do. And I credit my upbringing to it. My father and my mother, they taught me how to work hard and how to value that, and credit to them for teaching me what it meant to work and what it means to find that love in your work, and to really get into it so much that it's bigger than just your job every day. And I think in this industry we're so lucky, especially with that, because it's not just another job, and I think that's the difference between, a lot of dental technicians and I'm sure we'll have that conversation today, but, you know, I'm not a clock puncher.
Yeah.
And, and you're not either.
No.
and so
I just do the work. I show up and I get work, and that's Jeremy, you know. I want to, so tell, you know, things are weird right now, and there was a time when you fell out of this industry, and those were dark days. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and how you came through that?
Yeah, so I was managing a lab, and, you know, I had some promises made to me, and it was actually my brother and I were managing a lab together, and you know, we were promised this lab and worked really hard and did some really great things with it, and then the proverbial rug was ripped out of underneath us, and my brother, who is an amazing ceramist, he actually left the industry, and I really questioned it myself, and I started looking to all kinds of other jobs, and it was hard because at that point I had to make a decision, and it was either leave the industry altogether or decide that I was going to swallow my pride and realize that I wasn't going to be running a lab, and I was just going to have to, you know, start to decide to be the best technician I could be at whatever it was I was doing. And I ended up in a model room.
Yeah.
And so I was a model room technician, and I worked really hard in that model room every day to be the best model room technician I could be, so that I could wax a few teeth every day. And I had already done all that, you know, and so it was really, really hard. But it's the same thing that I talk to, you know, all of my team members about today, and that is, look, you just need to be the best technician you can be at your job today. And if you do it really well and you get it done and you want to do something else, then I am happy to help you get to that next level. But you're not going to have those opportunities if you're not willing to do your job at the highest level you possibly can and find a way to do it efficiently.
Yeah. So I remember those days, and I started going through some troubles because I had a technician that was kind of on his way out, didn't really want to do it anymore, and I was getting overloaded with cases, and I was staying awake for multiple days in a row, and I remember I called up Jeremy.
Awake,
I was like,
you were
dude,
working nonstop.
Yeah. I was like, I need you, man. I need you to come out and help me. And he's like, well, I haven't been waxing every day. And I'm like, you know, you're going to fall right back into it. It's all going to be fine. And Jeremy came over one weekend, and on Friday night, from Friday night till Monday morning, we finished 99 units together. And he made me eat. He brought me energy drinks and, you know, refreshments while I kept going. And when he was going, I might doze off here and there, but for the most part, we went nonstop. It just when the work has to get done, you know, we're the guys we're just going to get it done. So. And
we also talked about the entire history of the world from Adam and Eve until now.
we had some pretty deep conversations. As anybody who spent
when you don't
many
sleep.
a night with me. So. Yeah. But Jeremy, you know, and we talked about it, and we did, you know, he would come in every week and fill in the blanks and made sure that I stayed ahead of the work at that time. And his learning curve when he got excited about dentistry again, yes, I mean, you could see every day he was doing things, you know, 10-15% better until suddenly he was just doing amazing work again. And we went out and took him to a friend, and they got to observe him work, and then they offered him a job paying double what I could, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, he's doing great. And I let Jeremy go, and it was a hard thing to do. I mean, I can tell you, like, selfishly, I didn't ever want to let this guy out of my hands. I wanted somebody to be right there with me, willing to do the things that I was willing to do, but I also couldn't hold him back. And that's when you see somebody working hard or somebody wants to accomplish something, I'm never going to be the one who says, you know what, yeah, you can't do it or it's impossible. I'm like, no, you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. So Jeremy went out and excelled, and you know, and he's back to running labs. He's run multiple labs since.
About that, at that point in my life too, you know, I was going through bankruptcy, you know, and that was really hard and scary. And you were a really good friend, and you know, kind of talked me through that. But you know, I was working with you, and I was working with 2 other labs, and I was running all over the valley, picking up cases, dropping them off, you know, just trying to make ends meet. And you were doing everything you could to give them as much work as you could. But, you know, that was an exciting time because, you know, you were, you know, building your lab up. But, you know, I really appreciated that you said to me at that time, you know, listen, man, I can't give you what you need right now, but these folks can. And, that's not something a lot of people do. There's a lot of this underneath the thumb stuff going on all the time. And
it's funny. You told me, you're like, dude, just tell me to stay. You just pay me whatever.
I did.
And I'll do it. And I knew that. And I've had people who would take,
because we worked really well together and it was fun.
but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was so scared at the time. And I was like, I'm expanding, but I'm afraid of that I can't take care of you. And if I brought you on and couldn't take care of you because I had these other technicians at the time, but we found a way and everything, went great. Now you send me pictures of your work and I'm like, oh my gosh, like how do I keep up with Jeremy? And you can drive off that energy.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've been able to watch him grow. We've been friends for forever. It seems like now, from trying to hurt each other on the football field, and and then playing together to hurt other people. Not on purpose, obviously, but we just have a long history. And the reason why I wanted him to kind of share that story is because it just goes back down to what we started with. These are tough times, interesting times economically. Anything can happen, but I assure you, like those of you who are looking for opportunity, this is where it's made, right? Yeah. How you respond to what's happening right now is what defines you for the next portion of your life. So if ever you were someone who wanted to rewrite your stars, this is where it's going to happen. And it doesn't mean people won't go through bankruptcy. It doesn't mean that people won't suffer. They won't know where the meal is going to come from because, hey, we've done it. We didn't always know where the food was going to come from. We did dishes in the bathtub and we're afraid our kids would get taken by CPS and, because we lived in a garage and, we turned it into a really nice studio in that garage a little bit at a time. And we eventually got a kitchenette and, dishwasher and everything else. But we were just trying to stay together as family and do the hard thing, and we overcame it, and and here we are. We're all going through the same thing, and so it's what I started with today. I just want to reassure you that if you're willing to work hard and define who you are, this is where it's done.
Yeah.
So it's who would have thought when I was living in that garage and doing construction that I would someday be on the board of directors for the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. That would eventually, go on to do cosmetic cases all over the world and send them all over the world and teach and lecture all over the world and have friends all over the world. I would have never expected that. I just remember sitting there one day going, I haven't changed anybody's life. I haven't changed anybody's life. And now I can say I have. So when I almost wrecked my truck 2 years ago and almost died, and come this May, it'll be 2 years. That day I've never felt more peace than when I thought I was going to die, and I knew I left this place better than I found it. Sorry.
I remember when that happened, you came to visit, and you had really shoved all that down.
Yes, I swallowed all that
and we had another one of our long nights, and it got to you that night, and everything just kind of bubbled up, and you were like, Jeremy, what is going on? I almost died. Jeremy, I almost died. Yeah. And I came up out of that cliff after I swam out of the water, after I'd been banged up, cut my head, after all these things. I remember a tear started to come down. I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. And I sucked it back up like through whatever force. But when I did that, I locked out all my emotions. Yeah. I didn't feel anything for probably 3 months. It was a long time.
And when I was at Jeremy's lab working with him and his boss, I called up Jeremy in the middle of the night. I was like, dude, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's going on. I don't have any control. You need to get over here.
Yeah.
But then we stayed and worked all night. We just worked ourselves through it. So, that's what we're dealing with. This is a tough time, but we got our friends everywhere. Virtually, in person. We got our family. We got a support system. I'm here for you guys.
What are you going to, what are you going to decide to be right now? You're either going to decide to be a victim or you're going to decide to rise above it and be something greater than that. And it's the same decision you make every day. Are you going to come in and just punch the clock and do what you have to do to get out of there? And listen, everyone does that, right? There's days you're just I just need to get through today. If I can get through today, then there's tomorrow, But 99% of the time, it has to be about something more. Yeah. There has to be a reason you're there. And whether it's the team around you, whether it's your kids, whether it's your wife, whether it's the work, maybe it's that patient or that doctor, it doesn't matter. It has to be something bigger than just a paycheck in that job.
There was a time I think I spent a month in bed when I was going through depression and there was no work, and you know, I realized that all I had to do is get up and do something productive, cut my hair, shave, take a freaking shower. It was the simple tasks, right? These simple goals. I just needed something simple that I could accomplish. I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to get back in shape and go out and work and I'm going to go make all this money. No, you know, it didn't happen overnight. It took me 3 years to make any money. You know, I went from making $25,000, $30,000 a month to $1,200, you know, and my savings, I put 7 people in jail for embezzling the money that we had. I had like $65,000 in cash. It lasted about a year, and then we lost our houses. We lost a car. I didn't have a whole lot of debt. I didn't have to file bankruptcy, but they did take our houses and did sell them. And you know, I was like, I had to call up my sister because I was like, man, like I've got nothing. As of tomorrow, somebody else owns this house. Can I move into your garage? And she said yes. You know, so thanks, Noelle. But that's really what I'm getting at. Like you set yourself some simple tasks and do it. And right now it's read some books about leadership and self-help or self-improvement. Read things about how to be better at dental. Get on and do some online studies. Be good at your craft, but be passionate and be the best at what you do. Don't, like when he was the model tech, when I was framing houses and they told me to sweep the street, I was the best damn street sweeper you would ever meet, right? I took that stuff seriously. Every job I did, I took seriously. When I started in the lab business, I started as the janitor and answered phones, right? But I was the best darn janitor that they'd ever had. And then I got in the model room and I worked my way up from there, just like everyone else does, right? You prove who you are in the simple tasks that you do. Like in the military, it's fold your freaking shirts. Be the best at folding and that there's absolutely no creases, or make your damn bed. Like it's that simple. What you do, how you do, and how disciplined you are in the most simple things in life, or how disciplined you will be in the rest of your life. And the thing is, you can change that any day. By the decisions you make today, it's who you are tomorrow. And so you act like a champion now, eventually you're the champion. So just be the champions. Be the person who overcomes what we're dealing with. And do it a task at a time, a simple task at a time, and then start to increase the difficulty of those tasks and the ability that you're going to have to get out and go do it. And so I think if we do that, we all move ahead. You know, it doesn't matter how bad it is, if you're going to respond with responsibility and take responsibility for the fact that if you're having a tough time right now, yeah, it was your fault, you know, but that's okay, because all the success that comes after this struggle is also your fault. So accept responsibility for every bit of it, but then you get the responsibility for all the success that you'll have. So
and be prepared next time.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
you know, if this was your wake-up call, then just be prepared next time. You know, and the way you are prepared next time is that you decide that you're going to work harder than you did yesterday. So you know what you were putting in before. And if you're going to be better and be prepared, then it's going to take more effort. And you're just going to have to decide what that is and put that in.
Yeah. And I don't find myself to be special. I'm just a regular dude, and I pulled it off. It changed my life completely.
Multiple times.
Yeah. It's not just this one time. We call it reinventing ourselves. I think you have to do it every so many years. But, you know, and that's my challenge I'm putting forward to you guys. Go out and be your best people. I believe in you. Like, I would be the first to tell you can do it. Like, if you want something, you're gonna pull it off. Because I just set some simple tasks, and I went forward and I made it happen, and that's made a believer out of me. That any person, even depressed and doesn't think they can do anything, and they suck at life and they can't figure anything out, and you know, I took it a day at a time, and I rebuilt all of it, and you know, and anybody else out there can, all over the world. I've watched people do it, and I've helped people do it. So,
and if I can, last thing is help the people around you. You know, we talked about that thumb thing. When you've worked really hard and you get into a position where you can be a part of someone else's change and someone else's growth, you need to make sure that you are a cheerleader for them. That when that growth happens, even if it excels past your growth and is a bigger opportunity than you had, don't hold that against them. Be happy for them. Be excited for them. Like, cheer them on, because this life and this business especially, we all know it's about building bridges. Don't burn bridges down. Don't blow them up. Don't do hat dances around someone else's failures or successes. Be happy for them. And when you do that, you will excel and you will have more opportunities. That's just the way it works.